Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this evening's session of The Back Room. I am Hank Philippi Ryan, your co-host for this session. I'm the USA Today bestselling author of 13 novels, including the upcoming psychological suspense, Her Perfect Life, which I just happen to have here, right here today, which just arrived. This is one of the first copies from the first case, which is always so much fun to see. It got starred reviews from Publishers Weekly and Kirkus, and it comes out Tuesday, and I am so happy about it that I almost can't see straight. Thank you very, very much. Mystery Scene magazine called it a powerhouse of a novel, so I'm very pleased about that. And you will meet each author one by one, and let me introduce them to you right now. First this evening is Jane Healey. Jane, wave. Hi, Jane.
Hello.
Jane writes fiction about lesser-known women in history. Her novel, The Beantown Girls, was a Washington Post and Amazon Charts bestseller. Her latest novel, The Secret Stealers, was an Amazon First Read Editor's Pick, one of New York Post's best new books, and was also on Frolic's 25 Best Books of Spring 2021. Congratulations on that. Naomi Hirahara, wave Naomi, hi, is an Edgar-winning author of the Mas Arai mysteries, which feature a Los Angeles gardener and Hiroshima survivor who solves crimes. Her first historical mystery, which is getting all the buzz, is Clark and Division, which is set in 1944 Chicago. Welcome, Naomi. Pam Jenoff. Hey, Pam.
Hello.
Is a New York Times bestselling author of 11 novels, primarily works of historical fiction, including The Woman with the Blue Star. A former diplomat and attorney, she lives outside Philadelphia where she teaches law school. And she tells us she is at the beach right now with 3 kids and a dog. So that sounds lovely. Mark Sullivan, welcome, Mark, is the author of 19 novels, including the #1 bestsellers Beneath a Scarlet Sky and The Last Green Valley, historical novels based on true untold tales that are inherently moving, inspiring, and inspirational. Mark also writes the New York Times bestselling Private series with James Patterson. So we welcome you all this evening, and we will start as also with our Not Quite 20 questions, which are on these cool backroom cards. So let's see what we have for you all tonight. And I will start with the way you are on the screen this evening. So that means you, Jane, are first. Let me ask you, your question is, are you a good cook?
Yes, now I am. When I was first married, I lied and said I was, but now I actually am. So it took 20 years, but
how long did it take to fool your husband?
Oh, he figured it out when he opened my fridge one of our first dates, and there was like a jar of salsa in there and nothing else really. A couple beers.
You just meant a potential good cook.
That's right.
Really good cook.
Yeah.
Pam.
Yes.
Where did you grow up, and why? How did that affect your writing?
I grew up a mile from where I live. So I grew up in southern New Jersey, and that's the part outside Philadelphia, not the part outside New York, and lived there straight through high school. I then left, as so many people do, and lived all over the world for about 10 years and came home. And I've been back here ever since, and will never, ever leave again. So I think that, I'm a mile from my mom, and it's very special. And so I do think, even though my books are set abroad, where in places I have lived, that this notion of homecoming and return features prominently in all of my books.
It does indeed. That is really wise. I just noticed, if I look over here, you all, that means I'm looking at the comments. It doesn't mean I'm not listening. I'm just checking to see what people are saying. And I see Aline Cogdill has put up her review of Naomi Hirahara's book. And that is perfect because Naomi is next. And her question is, if you could live in another time or place, where would that be?
Wow, that's a really great question. I think I would actually live in Japan before the pandemic.
Oh. And why is that?
I think that's I kind of share what Pam had just said. I live kind of a mile away from where I grew up, and my mother's really close by, but my roots are in Japan. And there's just something about that country for me. I think the safety, just the novelty, you can get anything in from a vending machine, and all of those things to me just is like comforting. But of course, that was all before, the pandemic.
Well, we hope they'll be all after, and we'll be able to go get stuff from vending machines again. Then. Mark Sullivan, what is the first thing that you remember writing?
I was in second grade and I got in a fist fight in parochial school, and a 6 foot, 200-pound nun picked me up by the scruff of my collar. I was terrified of her. She was the vice principal, and she said, "Your punishment is you have to go write a short story to enter the school-wide contest." And I was, what? Because this was corporal punishment time, But that's what I did, and I wrote something, and I won. And that was the start.
Do you think that was a diabolical punishment, that she knew you were talented?
Either that, or she was just preying on my, inherent Catholicism and trying to just create guilt right from the get-go associated with my writing.
I mean, it's interesting because you could have wound up hating to write as a result of that.
Easily, right? But I didn't. I actually fell in love with it.
Good for a sister, whoever that was.
Sister Mary Joseph.
It's funny. Jennifer Erickson is saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm a second grade teacher. Your story made my day." So you'll be able to talk about that in your breakout room when you get Jennifer. Jane Healey, what was your favorite book as a child?
Definitely A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle. That book was like life-changing for me. I identified with the main character so much. I still have my original copy on my shelf in my bedroom that's all tattered and worn from being reread many times over. But yeah, I adored that book.
It's funny because all of us who were bookish and nerdy thought, well, if Meg Murray can be cool.
Yes, Meg Murray.
We can be cool too, right?
She was our icon, right? I know.
That's great. She was indeed. Pam.
Yes.
What book, if any, made you want to be a writer? Was there such a book?
I always wanted to be a writer, so I'm not sure that there was a book, but Judy Blume has a very prominent place in my childhood, as she does in many of our childhoods. And I can't remember. I've spoken to Mark and Jane and Hank numerous times this publishing season, so I can't remember if I've said that a couple years ago I met Judy Blume and I showed her my yearbook where it said, in fifth grade, it said the next Judy Blume. I showed her the email I had written her as an aspiring author 20 years ago to the exact date from when I met her. So, there's a lot going on there with me and Judy from back in the day.
There is a lot going on. That is so much karma. It's wonderful. I love how the world works that way. Meant to be. Naomi, what is your favorite place to work?
Well, I'm going to be boring, and it's just like my living room table because it's very close to the refrigerator. You need your snacks.
You do need your snacks. Absolutely so. Because it's all, you think, well, I need a little snack roll of something, and then I'll have a good idea. That generally works. That generally works. Mark, do you remember what your first job was?
Yes, unfortunately. No, I'm going to give you the fortunate one. My very first job was at Fenway Park. I sold souvenirs for Twins Enterprises. I had a cart outside Red Cross Gate, and I thought it was the greatest job in the world.
It probably was.
It was.
Are you still a Red Sox fan?
Oh, diehard.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening to them right now, though, sadly. It's not the best thing. We'll just
interesting ball right now.
We'll just cross our fingers for October.
That's right.
So we've asked each of you to come up with a book recommendation to tell our audience. Jane, let's start with you. What book are you recommending tonight and why?
So I am recommending The Showgirl by Nicola Harrison because I'm doing a webinar with her in a few weeks. And it's just such a great story. 1920s New York City, really strong female character. Protagonist goes to New York to, fulfill her dream of being a dancer with the Ziegfeld Follies. So it's great. Really fun read. I'm really enjoying it.
Great. Thank you. Pam, what about you?
I am recommending Woodrow on the Bench by Jenna Blum. So Jenna Blum is a dear friend. We were in the Grand Central Anthology together about 8 years ago, and we've been really close ever since. And Woodrow was her black Labrador Retriever who passed away a few years ago, and he was just her absolute soulmate and constant companion. And so Woodrow on the Bench is a memoir, and it's about Woodrow, but it's about Jenna. It's about the relationship and the ways in which these companions take us through the stages of our lives. And I think it's out next month. My brain's a little fuzzy on the release date, but I've read it, and I have to tell you, the book came into my house, and before I could get it, one of my 11-year-old twins like scooped it up and read it first. So it's very good. It's very, very popular.
Yes, I had that right here because you didn't have it to hold up.
I have nothing.
I agree with you about this book. I wondered, how can she write this? What can this be? And it turned out to be much more than it looks like on the cover. So quite special. Naomi, what about you? What are you recommending?
Well, I'm recommending, this is coming out in October, Death at Greenway by Lori Rader Day. And based on a true fact that Agatha Christie's home was used for a refuge for orphans during World War II. And since we're talking about World War II topics, I thought this would be the perfect book to introduce you to. And she does something that I've been trying and I will do someday, but it's told from different people's voices, like the nurses, the children, and other individuals that are associated with this temporary holding place for orphans. So yeah, and of course, it's a mystery. So there is someone dies. It's not one of the children. So yeah, check it out.
I have this book right here, and I loved it. And I have to say, when Lori told me the idea for this book, she said, "Did you know that Agatha Christie's house was used as a way station for children in World War II? I'm going to write a mystery about that." And I thought, oh, that is the best idea. I had serious author envy at that moment.
And she did her research on that too.
Oh, and she stayed at Agatha Christie's house.
Yeah.
Please, gotta love it. Yes, I agree with your recommendation. Mark, what are you recommending?
I'm going to recommend a book called Shantaram, which is by Gregory David Roberts, and it is one of the best books I've ever read. It's in my top 5 of all time. Wow. It's a roman à clef about a guy who escapes prison in Australia, stowaways aboard a boat and jumps ship in Mumbai, and he goes into the slums and becomes a medic, and then he joins the Mumbai Mafia. I've never read anything like it. It's just incredible.
I hadn't heard of it when I saw that you were going to recommend it, so I looked it up, and the praise for this book is, things like, I didn't know what this book was going to be, but it was a life-changing book, one of the best books I've ever read. If you ask me what it's about, somebody said it's about everything.
It is.
And that's...
It is. It's extraordinary. He takes you into a world you couldn't even imagine, and he does it in such a beautiful way. It's just remarkable.
And Ricky, people are saying, Ricky is saying Shantaram was one of my top 5, and Anne is saying, yes, I read it this week, and it's fabulous, and it's great. Lots of exclamation marks in the comments. So you all are really reaching people, and we love that. I see that our TBR piles are growing like crazy, and it struck me a couple of weeks ago that the back room TBR, the back room is also TBR, to be read pile. So that seems very cosmic.
Wasn't that fun? We hope you enjoyed that taste of what a backroom session is like. But more fun comes immediately afterward. That's when the audience is broken up into 4 breakout rooms, and each author in turn visits each room. We'd love to show you what a breakout session is like, because those relaxed face-to-face conversations between best-selling authors and readers are the hallmark of backroom events. But breakout sessions are never recorded, because what's said in the back room stays in the back room.